Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1379B and today's date is September 15th, 2017 and the title of the episode is Last Ditch Effort, the Cabal Pushes the Event of Events. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now we can see there's a lot more truth bombs that are coming out, and some of them we've known already. We've known that Susan Rice was unmasking members of Trump's campaign. He was out there saying that this is completely wrong, it's completely illegal, and she's really not supposed to do this. And what's very interesting about all of this is they were doing this because the Crown Prince from the United Arab Emirates was in New York last December, and she was saying that we needed to keep a tab on why the Crown Prince was there. We were spying on the Crown Prince because we wanted to see what he was doing. So basically we had to unmask certain individuals. And this is absolutely ridiculous because this had nothing to do with that. This is a cover story. They were really spying on Trump. They were unmasking the individuals there. And basically, they were using this as an excuse. But from this, what happened is that she actually admitted that they were doing this. Now, last week, Rice was called to testify before the House Intelligence Committee about her role in unmasking the identities of Trump's top aides in a redacted document. And Rice told investigators that she did not know the identity of the Americans who were meeting with the Crown Prince. She allegedly requested their names to be revealed internally only. So she really knew what was going on. This is a cover story to show that, she didn't really know what was going on. But we could see at this point that they knew exactly what was going on. This is why they were pushing the warrants through the Pfizer courts. This is why they were doing all this. This is why they had the Russian lawyer come into Trump Jr. All of this was being set up. And what's happening right now is they're getting caught up in it. And they're trying to explain away why all of this was happening. We see out in Spain, the Catalonian independent referendum. Well, the campaign is officially underway. We can see right now that they are shooting for October 1st. To have the scheduled vote, and it looks like Spain's push to try to stop this is not working. We see the Catalonian people, they are gathering together, they're having concerts, they're having forums, they're basically banding together, and they're looking to push this and to have this vote. So we're going to have to watch this and see how this goes. Now, what's very interesting out in Venezuela, which we've been talking about for quite a bit, where we said that Venezuela is going to be, they're going to be dropping the dollar, they're going to be moving to the euro. And what we come to find out is that Venezuela is not going to move towards the euro. Yes, they are dropping the dollar, but they're making a completely different move. And what they're doing right now is they are moving towards the Yuan. They're going to trade their oil in Yuan instead of the euros. Now, this is very interesting because, again, this is all happening at the same time China announced the future oil yuan backed by gold. And we can see right now that Venezuela is going to go ahead and trade in this yuan, not the euro. So basically they're bypassing the euro, bypassing the dollar, and they're moving towards the yuan. And this is going to be a huge, huge problem. And once this goes ahead, we're going to see other countries. Think about it. This is just the beginning where Venezuela is going to prove that they can do this and there is no problem in doing this. Now, think about this. The Middle East. What do you think Syria is going to do? What do you think Iraq is going to do? What do you think Libya is going to do? Lebanon is going to do? And the rest of the countries. They're all going to follow suit and they're going to trade in the yuan instead of the dollar. Again, the dollar is doomed at this point. We mentioned this yesterday. The doomsday clock for the petrodollar is ticking closer to midnight right now. And there's nothing that can be done unless maybe there's an event that brings us to war. This is the only thing which will cover up this entire de-dollarization which is happening right in front of our eyes. And if this does happen, and the economies implode and the United States implodes, everyone's going to be pointing their fingers to, well, first to the government, then to the Fed, because the Fed is the one who's handling the entire economy, and they don't want anything to be blamed on any central bank, especially a private central bank. So they're going to do whatever they possibly can to distract everyone and shift everyone's eyes away from what's really going on. We see Poroshenko is out there, and he vows to return Crimea in 2018. So all the training and everything that's going on in Ukraine, it looks like they think, or they're going to try, to have some type of push in 2018 to get Crimea back. Now, the only way they are going to be able to do this is by force, because right now Crimea voted themselves away. They're with Russia. They're being integrated with Russia, and the only way to get Crimea back, southeastern area back, most likely is going to be with force. Are they going to be able to do it? I think time is ticking down, and this is not a possibility at this time. We see North Korea, they allegedly launched another missile, and it flew over Japan. They're saying that it exploded in the Pacific. And at this point, they're saying that this missile has the potential of reaching Guam. Now, think about what we've been talking about. Think about what's been going on. We knew going way back that they'd never developed a ballistic missile that can hit Alaska, Chicago, or anywhere else. Actually, it couldn't even hit Guam. I'm not even sure that this missile flew as far as it really did. I mean, they're reporting that it did, but we don't know for a fact. We don't have the hard data out there showing us that this is actually where the missile flew to. But the whole point of this is they're trying to convince everyone that this missile and their next generation of missiles, they have the ability to hit Guam. This is all they wanted to do. This is what they want to convince everyone of, because think about a couple months ago, maybe just a month ago or so, where they had that big scare where Guam is going to be attacked. They're on high alert. And we knew from that point it's impossible. They only had a medium-range missile. Most of them blew up. Most of them didn't even make it to their target destination. And we can see this is the only way they can convince everyone that North Korea actually has a missile system that can make it to Guam. Now, is North Korea going to fire a missile at Guam? Absolutely not. This would be absolutely ridiculous, because they know if they fire any type of nuclear missile or just a missile, it is game over for North Korea. So what is happening right now is they are setting this up to make it look like it came from North Korea. This is the whole point of this exercise. This is the propaganda that they're using. Now, Putin and Macron, they are out there and they're saying, listen, we need to calm the situation down. And they've been talking over the phone, and they want to basically freeze everything right now, and they want talks. They're trying to stop further escalation of the situation, and they want both sides. Actually, they want Japan, they want South Korea, North Korea, United States, China, Russia. Everyone needs to talk about what's going on, and they need this to stop. And we're going to have to watch this situation very carefully, because I do believe that the Cabal, this is their last-ditch effort to have an event of events, because they have nothing left. Look what's happening in Syria. Look what's happening in the Middle East. Look what's happening with Venezuela. The petrodollar system, which they depend on, where they make a lot of money off of, it is coming to an end. And if they don't have the power of this system, well, they can't place sanctions. They can't force countries to do things they don't want to do. And that means their reign of power is completely gone. Right now, their flow of funding is being cut off, and they see it. And this is why they're not going to let it happen. They're going to do whatever they possibly can to make it stop. And this is why we're looking for this event that most likely is coming. We'll have to watch the situation very carefully, but we can see how they're going to be building this up. Now, there have been leaked emails purportedly between the United Arab Emirates ambassador to the U.S., Yusuf Otaba, and then U.S. National Security Advisor Susan Rice, which may indicate that the United States knew about illegal arms shipments to the rebels in Libya. And here is how some of the correspondence went. MBZ asked me to inform you that we will be sending equipment to our friends in the western part of Libya in the next 2 to 3 days. And this came from the United States Ambassador Yosef, using an acronym for Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed, which is MBZ. They will arrive in the United Arab Emirates cargo aircraft and will be escorted by the UAE military contingent just to ensure safe passage. He just wanted me to give you a heads up. This will be happening so that no one is caught off guard. Susan Rice then responded, "Roger, thanks." Now, the emails, which were publicly leaked by an unidentified group overnight on Wednesday, raised questions about U.S. knowledge about the possible UAE influence in Libya's civil war. The panel that compiled the report found evidence of helicopters, including Russian-made Mi-24 Hind gunship, and a single-engine light attack plane in eastern Libya after they were transferred from the UAE to the Libyan National Army. The report also documents a delivery of more than 90 armored personnel carriers and more than 500 other vehicles to the LNA in the eastern city of Tobruk in April of 2016. The vehicles came from the UAE via a cargo ship from Saudi Arabia. So we can see right now that, again, Susan Rice is involved in this. Susan Rice is involved in the unmasking. We know that arms shipments were being brought into Iraq, to Syria, because we saw those Pentagon documents, and now we're having leaked emails that arms shipments were coming in covertly into Libya. And we can see right now, all this is coming to a head right now, and all these people that have been involved in all this for a very long time, it's all coming out into the open. We see that Russia, Iran, Turkey, they agree on a final de-escalation zone in Idlib, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and put this de-escalation zone in once they get the approval from Syria. We also see that there was a terrorist bombing that occurred in London on the subway, and this looks like it was a homemade bomb. It was left on the rush hour commuter train in London, and the whole train, I guess, was engulfed in flames. Looks like 22 people were injured. The Islamic State is already out there taking responsibility for what happened there. And we need to remember something very important of what's happening here out in London. Remember, the Brexit is happening right now. We know that the central bankers, certain individuals in the Cabal, the deep state, they don't want this to happen. Germany doesn't want this to happen. And every time something like this happens, they use force, they use something to scare the people, and they send a message to those people that are trying to push away from the central banking system, from the cabal. And they send this message through these little terrorist attacks, which is really not a terrorist attack. They usually set these up, on their own to make it look like, yeah, the Islamic State did it, or Al-Qaeda did it, or people that are associated with these terrorist groups. But these are messages to individuals. Now, of course, when they do this, they go ahead and they put the country on high alert. They enact more laws because those individuals within government, they want to take more and more control of what's going on. And at this point, what we're seeing is they are sending a message to the British people, to the British government. Listen, you will not be exiting the EU. You will be staying. We don't want this to happen. And most likely the punishment penalty will go even higher. And we can see at this point that the Islamic State, they have no power at this point. I mean, they took responsibility for this. What would be the reason they were doing this? They've lost their power in Iraq. They lost their power in Syria. There's nothing left for them to do. And they're going to create this little homemade bomb to scare people. It makes no sense of why they would even have the ability to do this. Secondly, most of them are on the run right now because people are running after them, trying to capture them. The Islamic State is on the run. They don't have the ability to do this kind of stuff right now. Why would they do this? I mean, think back when the Islamic State was in Syria, in deep, and they were provoking the United States to come in and bomb. Why would a terrorist group do this? Why would they want the United States to come in and bomb them? Why would they provoke them? This has nothing to do with them bombing the Islamic State. This had to do with the United States coming in and bombing the infrastructure of Syria. That's why they were this is why they kept prodding them to come on in. Now we see the Islamic State out there saying that, this is their work. This makes no sense. They don't have this power. Their income from the oil runs completely dried up. They only have 15% of Syria. They are surrounded. They're pretty much out of Iraq. They're being chased out of Afghanistan, out of Lebanon, out of Libya. They're done for. This makes no sense. And we could see at this point that this is about scaring the British people, keeping them in line. This is a message from the cabal, from the central banks. Don't push. Because at this point, countries, they've had it with the central bank. The people have had it with the central bank. We can see in Spain with the Catalonians. We can see countries like Venezuela, like Libya, like Iraq, like Syria, Iran, China, Russia, and the rest. They're done. They're standing up to the cabal, the United States. Those people who have been pushing this agenda for a very long time. It is all coming to an end, and the only thing the cabal has left to do is to create an event of all events. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.